Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be playing some Minecraft and reading and reacting to some Reddit stories. I know I mentioned it in the last video, but if you'd like me to read and react to your stories, you can send them to the email attached, linked in the description below, and I will read them and react to them in the next video. Today we're going to be reading some crazy Reddit stories and playing some Minecraft in one of my old worlds, just again, mining, trying to get some resources. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like, subscribe if you'd like, and leave a comment to let me know how I can make these videos better for you. Anyway, we can go ahead and get started. The first story that we are going to read is actually from my wife, so shout out to her for sending this over to me. And the story is, am I wrong for going on a free first-class trip to Europe with my best friend when my boyfriend says it will end our relationship? My best friend won a trip. First class, 1 week, all expenses paid for 2 people. She asked me to be her plus one. She's the most conservative, reserved person I know, the kind of person who brings a book to a bar and actually reads it. This isn't a party trip. It's a sightseeing trip with someone who plans museum itineraries in advance. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year and a half, and he does not want me to go. At all. He's made that extremely clear. His reasons are, it's too big a portion of the summer for us to be apart, and he doesn't like the idea of long international trips taken separately, which, in principle, I understand. I agree with him on the general rule. I've told him I don't intend to do long trips with friends in the future. This just feels like an extenuated circumstance. I have thought about this every single time the topic comes up. I hear him out, I try to explain why I want to go, but I feel like he's being unreasonable. It's a free first class trip to Europe. My best friend won it. She's not some random person, she's my closest friend since high school, and she's not asking me to split costs or take any time off work that I can't afford. It's completely covered. The last flight was 2 nights ago. He said if I'd go, he's not sure we can come back from it. He said a week apart on another continent, when he already feels like we don't get enough time together, is a choice that shows where my priorities are. I told him my priority is with us, but this is a once in a lifetime thing that fell into my lap. He said once in a lifetime things don't matter if they cost you the person you love. I haven't booked anything yet. My friend needs to confirm by tomorrow or the trip gets forfeited. My sister thinks I'd be insane to miss a free luxury trip because a man is giving me ultimatums. My brother thinks the boyfriend is being manipulative and threatening the relationship to control me. But my roommate, who knows both of us, said a year and a half is real, and if he's this upset, going away is basically saying the trip matters more than he does. She said relationships require sacrifice, and this is an obvious one. Part of me wonders if I'm being selfish. Maybe a week isn't that long in the grand scheme of things, but maybe the principle matters more than the trip. Maybe if I go, I'm proving him right about my priorities. But then I think about walking through those cities in first class with my best friend, a trip I'll never be able to afford on my own, and I get angry that I'm being made to feel like a villain for wanting to say yes. Am I wrong? All right. In my opinion, I don't think that the OP is wrong. I mean, this really is a once in a lifetime type trip. I understand where the boyfriend is coming from, but at the same time, it's only a week. From the beginning, from how he was acting, I thought it was going to be like a month or something like that. It's only 1 week away. It's fully covered, so his girlfriend isn't going to have to pay anything out of pocket, and it's all first class. I don't see why he would be upset. I get it's a little time away from your girlfriend, but it's only a week. And I get the principle that he's coming from, that he doesn't like the long international trips, when they're not together. But in my opinion, especially at their young age, being able to have a free trip to Europe, first class, and it's a week, I mean, I don't see the problem. I don't think they're in the wrong. I think the boyfriend needs to be a little bit more understanding, and let her go have fun. And especially, it sounds like the friend is, like she said, very conservative. Not gonna go. They're not gonna be partying the whole time. They're just going around, seeing the sights, and it'll be a very chill trip. So I don't think they're wrong. I get the boyfriend's perspective, but I think he needs to be a little bit more understanding. But yeah, that is the end of that story. The next story that we're going to read is Am I the Asshole for Expecting a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old to Contribute Financially? All right, this story begins with the OP stating that he is 53 in male and he has a stepdaughter that is now 19 and she started to date a boy who was 16. His wife, which was a 43 female, allowed this on the occasion the boyfriend to spend the night occasionally. When he wasn't allowed, he'd sneak in, hide in the closet, hide under the bed, or break into vacant apartments near us. He was arrested for trespassing. His home is 100 miles away. If I'd give in and said he could stay one night, it would turn into 7. My wife has zero ability to tell her daughter what to do. After she graduated high school, she moved to another state, leaving the boyfriend behind. She told my wife she realized she would never get away from him if she stayed home and he would hold her back. My greatest fear was that he would get her pregnant, he wouldn't be able to take care of her, he didn't graduate high school, and raising the baby would fall on me and my wife. She came back home to get the rest of her stuff and agreed to meet the guy to give each other their stuff back. She told my wife she kept it strictly professional. She returned to her new home and after a month or two returned home. In March, she told us she was pregnant and due in August. We told her they couldn't live with us and he needed to get a job. He said he couldn't get a job in the city without a place to stay, so I gave them 30 days to save up and then move out. The deal was for 30 days, and I wasn't going to do the dishes or take out the trash. That was 4 months ago. My stepdaughter said they can't save money because she's paying for her baby shower. The dishes and trash sit in the house for days at a time. They both have jobs and combined make at least $1,000 a week. My wife, who told me they wouldn't be allowed to live here with the baby, has now switched to, I'm not kicking out my daughter and my grandbaby. I'm struggling to pay the bills. I work a full-time job, have a small side hustle that pays $300 a month, and I do Instacart on one of my days off. This week, I used 2 PTO days to do Instacart for rent. I sold my plasma. I still had to ask my parents for help. I suggested that he applies to get on the lease, and then each of us contribute $150 a week to a fund for paying rents and bills. My wife immediately rejected and threatened to take them and move out. She doesn't make enough to cover her expenses without me. Am I the asshole? All right, I have some thoughts on this one. This guy, I don't believe is the asshole. Really asking them, I get, first off, they started at, okay, you can stay for a month. It's been 4 months, so they've they've stayed a lot longer than they were supposed to. Also, he's asking them to contribute $150 a week to a fund that helps pay the rent and bills. I mean, they've lived rent-free in that house for 4 months now. And the OP stated that they make over $1,000 a week. So let's just say that they make $4,000 on the month, on the dot a month. Well, he's only asking for them both to contribute $150. So let's say that's $1,200, a month because it's $300 a week, 150 for both of them. That's still only 30% or so of what they're making monthly. So they should still be able to pay, save 70% of the money that they're bringing in. So it's not like the OP is asking them to contribute a lot of money for rent and bills. It's only 150 bucks a week, and when they're making 1,000 bucks a week, I don't see that being a big deal. Especially when he's already let them overstay their welcome in the house. And also, it doesn't sound like they're helping with any chores or anything. They're kind of freeloading in a way. This is a tough, a tough situation. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. All right, I literally love the next title of the next story. It is titled, Am I Wrong for Standing on Business and Ruining Everybody's Day? That title just is great, so I can't wait to read the story. So here's what happened. Me and 3 of my friends were supposed to be going to an event today. The event is about a 2-hour drive from where we all live, so one of my friends was going to drive, and we were all going to ride together. Where I live, the temperatures were already well into the mid-90s, so I was already on the fence about going to the event because it's going to be semi-outdoors. So my friend swings up to pick me up and agreed to have all the windows down on his truck. He only lives a couple minutes down the road from me, so I figured he was just letting the excess heat out of the truck before turning on the AC. We drive for about 10 minutes to pick up our other two friends, and he still hasn't turned the AC on. Okay, kind of weird. We get there about 15 minutes later, and I finally turn to him and ask if he's going to roll up the windows and crank down the AC. He says that we're going to be out in it all day, so we might as well get used to it. I tell him that I am not sitting in an unair conditioned vehicle from stop and start traffic for 2 hours and that he needs to turn on the AC. The other two people in the vehicle obviously agree with me as we were all sweating through our clothes already. He says something to the effect of, "My truck, my rules," to which I tell him either turn on the AC or pull over and let me out. He then tells me that he's not going to pull over, then we can just suck it up and deal with it. I tell him that he can either pull the truck over or I'm going to jump out and find another way home at my first opportunity. He won't pull over for about 5 minutes, um, and then he eventually pulls over at a dead stop traffic light, and we jump out and head towards the closest gas station that we have last passed. About 10 seconds later, I hear two of my friends in the backseat jump out and start catching up to me. Apparently, they were already on the fence about the event for the same reasons that I was, and this was the last straw for both of them as well. We get back to the gas station that we had just passed and called a Lyft to come get us and take us home. He managed to make a U-turn and get to the gas station before the Lyft could come pick us up and is trying to get us to get back in the truck, saying that he'll run the AC and that we can still go. But at this point, we're all just pissed off and hot, felt nasty. So we just end up getting in the Lyft and leaving. We essentially ended up telling him that if he wanted to go, that he was going by himself, which he ended up not going. Now he's blowing up our phones in the group chat saying how we ruined the day. He insists that what we did was overly dramatic, but I feel like we just stood on business. Am I, or are we in the wrong? I just love the standing on business. No, that's definitely the truck driver's fault. Why? Okay, I live in Florida. I don't know why you would want to, if you're going to be at an event that A is in the summertime, already outside, so you're already going to be hot all day. Why would you want to be hot going there? At least enjoy the time that you're not outside, you're in the vehicle. At least inside the truck, enjoy the AC while you have it because you're not going to have it all day. The rest of the day that you're at the event. So, no, they are definitely not in the wrong and they definitely stood on business. Just quickly before we start the next story, I like one of the comments on that post. It says, so he basically indicated it was his way or the highway, and the three of you chose the highway. It's just funny. All right, let's go ahead and get into our next story. Alrighty. Just from the title of this next story, or is this OP in the wrong? Just off the title, I think he is. It's, am I in the wrong for leaving my wife during labor? I think so. But anyway, let's read the story. My wife went into labor around 6 p.m. on Sunday. We were expecting twins. It quickly turns into a very painful process. She kept cutting off the blood pressure to my hand when she squeezed and nearly sprayed my shirt with vomit. Around 3 a.m., my dad calls. I work for my dad's company, and we had a presentation for clients Monday morning that I had to get ready for. My dad heard my wife was in labor but told me he needed me on this presentation. He said there was nothing I could do to help my wife, and delivery and seeing the baby coming out was overrated, and people don't prepare you for the gore. He said he needed me to rest up and make myself presentable for the presentation. My wife's labor was progressing very slowly, and we were all certain she would need forceps or other assistance to deliver the two babies. I realized that I couldn't help her here, and my dad was counting on me, so I told her I needed to leave. She started screaming at me so loudly that a few nurses rushed over to our room. I ended up doing the presentation with the clients and things went well. I leave the office and see a text on my phone that said my wife delivered an hour ago around 10:30 a.m. and they had to use forceps. I would have missed the meeting had I stayed, and my dad has given me everything and he could possibly give me in life. So I didn't want to let him down. Am I in the wrong? I had responsibilities I had to take care of, and while my wife is still screaming at me, saying that she was alone when they destroyed her body, and I'm the only one who works, and her mom herself said that she was emotional and overreacting. My wife even went as far to say that her family would disown her if she was the first of them to divorce, but she doesn't consider me her husband right now. Am I in the wrong? This guy is definitely in the wrong. I get that you have responsibilities, but your number one responsibility should have been being there for your wife while she's giving birth to your twins. I get that your dad needed help with a presentation for work, but are we being for real? He A could have done it on his own, or B could have probably rescheduled this with clients. He didn't have to have you there for a presentation, especially with your wife going into labor. That's, you know, the one of the most important things, one of the most important moments of your life. And he just bailed. He bailed on her. He's like, "Yeah, I'm out. Don't want to see the gore. I'm gonna go to this presentation with my dad." Oh, and then missed the delivery of his two children. So this guy is definitely in the wrong. I don't see a way where he is not in the wrong. And his wife should feel justified for how she is feeling and her being upset at him. So, and that is the end of that story. So let's go ahead and get into our next story. All right, and for the last story, it is Am I in the wrong for refusing to help my husband with the kids? For 2 days, I've been feeling horribly sick with flu like symptoms. I ended up going to the ER yesterday afternoon where they kept me for about 14 hours. Turns out I have tick borne encephalitis. Not fun to say the least. Couple that with not having slept or eaten since 2 p.m. the previous day, I'm not doing well. While in the emergency room, my husband asked if I could make a bottle for our son when I arrived home so he could feed him at night. Mind you, the bottles were all dirty, so I'd have to at least wash and fill up a bottle potentially in the middle of the night upon arriving home. When I did arrive home at 6 the following morning, he asked me to help the kids get ready for school before I went to rest. I got upset with him, saying if the tables were turned, I'd never ask him to help if he was sick, let alone just got home from the emergency room. He does work nights from home, trying to build his mechanic business, but given that I was literally in the ER, I feel like he should have managed his time better. I should also mention he will be gone the next 2 weekends away for concerts, so this is my last week to get healthy before being on my own for 2 weekends. It feels grossly unfair to me. He doesn't understand why I'm upset. He has a tendency of asking me to do things for him or the kids that he could easily do himself, or asking questions he could find the answer to or be on his own. I broke down crying the other day because I'm upset that nobody cares for me, including myself. I'm so busy caring for my family, but they never care for me, especially when I'm sick. I'm getting to the end of my rope. Am I in the wrong for refusing to help? All right. So that is a pretty crazy story. I really don't think that this wife is in the wrong. This OP, I mean, encephalitis, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but that seems really rough. So, being in the ER for, I think she said 14 hours, they held her there, and then, she hadn't eaten since the previous day. I don't blame her for being upset. And also, like she kind of had mentioned in the story, I think the husband should have been better at managing his time. Um, and it's kind of crazy that, she was expected to A, clean the bottles, but then prep one and have it ready for her son, as well as get them ready for school the next morning. That's some stuff that the husband could have done on his own to lighten the load on his wife. Definitely. Um, I think really she just needs to sit him down and explain, um, her side of the story and explain that she had just got home from the emergency room and she can't rush around and do everything. He needs to take some of that off her load and help her out so that she can get rest. Um, and she mentioned that he was going to be you know, going to two concerts the next 2 weekends. So if he really cares about her and loves her, he might need to cancel those. That way she can get some rest, and help out more with the kids. But anyway, that's going to do it for stories today. While I'm playing some Minecraft. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe if you'd like, and comment and let me know how I can make these videos better for you, because at the end of the day, I do these videos for fun. Um, but they're also here for your enjoyment. So let me know down in the comments. And yeah, that's going to do it for me today. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.